So you gonna kill it or what?
So that'll do it for this episode of the Bust Tim's Balls Movie Club. Thank you guys for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Brian Larsen. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thank you for listening.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club. My name is Tim Larsen. I'm here with some friends to talk about movies. We are on movie number 199. That's a 199er. We're here to talk about Fight Club today. Brian's pick was the 1999 David Fincher cult classic Fight Club, off the theme of a movie that a movie club should have seen before. And so one question I have for you, Brian, as you do this, you can address this early or later. Give us a reason why you picked this as a movie that a movie club should have seen by now. The show is yours, Brian. Take it away.
Well, this is well known as I would call it a movie that has a ending you don't see coming. And it's pretty well known for that. And anyone who has seen it, talking to somebody who hasn't seen it, is always saying things like, you've got to see this movie. So as a movie club, I felt we should have. And but the first rule is we can't talk about it. So I don't know how well this is going
Right.
to go.
Yeah. We'll just put some music behind us and
So yeah, Mike wakes up at 3 a.m. from the other side of the world to come to a movie club. We can't talk about the movie.
Yeah.
Now,
All right. Good night, guys.
All right.
yeah.
See ya.
Now, Mike, are you allowed to talk about where you are? Where are you presently?
I am currently in Brussels, Belgium,
Brussels,
which
Belgium. All right.
holds the European Union Parliament.
That's cool.
As you said, Tim, I picked Fight Club. David Fincher. He's done Seven, Social Network, and Gone Girl. This What a movie. I've got some stuff to get into later, but for now, we'll go to you guys and let's start with Mike Wilden. Mike, you missed last week, so we'll make you first this week.
Okay. I love this movie. I've seen it several times. I don't know, man. It's such a unique movie. It's obviously influenced a lot of movies, ahead of it. I don't think it's the first one to probably do the whole the kind of schizophrenia, like, oh, it turns out that we're all, we're the same person kind of thing. Oh, spoiler alert. Can we talk about that? But it's, there are so many, like, even anybody seen the show Mr. Robot by any chance with Rami Malek? Yeah, that's basically like Fight Club with computer nerds. And that's exactly what, how people would say it too.
Isn't the writer of the Fight Club book the writer of Mr. There's a connection there between either a producer or a writer. Yeah. Because as soon as I started watching Mr. Robot, I was like, this is gotta be linked. And then I looked it up and there's a hard connection between the two.
Oh, that's really cool. I had no idea. That's awesome. Well, you can see the influence, but you can see the influence in so many other things too. The style is obviously very unique, there's a lot of fourth wall breaking, but only kind of, like the whole thing, I don't know. It's really hard to describe. Obviously, unreliable narrator. The writing's great. The acting is fantastic. All three of the main leads, I think, are just wonderful in this. It's a very artsy movie, and obviously one that makes you think. You have to watch more than once. I remember the first time I ever watched this a really long time ago. Just, it kind of blew my mind, as it's supposed to. And ever since then, anytime I watch it, I always try and pick out other things. Like, oh, there's a clue. Oh, there's something. Oh, they never actually address Edward Norton by name. Those kinds of things. And I'd be interested to watch it with somebody that had never seen it before at some point to see if they figure it out before the movie reveals it to them. Because there are clues along the way, but they're all very, very subtle. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the theme of this movie. There are so many things to like about this. I'm gonna not go too much, I guess, into it. Let you guys add it. I will ask a question of the group though. Um, did this genuinely kind of just so did Edward Norton's character invent the name Tyler Durden, or was he Tyler Durden the whole time and just couldn't remember his name because he was stuck in this flow of just the same thing?
Anybody want to take a stab at this, or
It's all guessing. It's really just guessing.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he made up the name.
I like all the different debates, and of all of them, I kind of like that one the best, that he is Tyler Durden. That was his name all along. That's how he introduced himself when he was, unconscious or, whatever, sleepwalking, split, whatever it is. But I like that one. I don't like, well, I mean, it's as good as any, but the one where he's reading the manuscripts and he's Jack, I'm Jack's, upset tummy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of dig just calling him the narrator too when referring to him.
Oh yeah.
And that's what they call him on IMDb. Because I went to look some stuff up beforehand, and under Edward Norton it says narrator, and then I started thinking about it. Like you said, they never call him a name. It was Rupert or whatever. Bryce, I think, was the other one he put on name tags for the support groups.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I didn't even think about it. So
oh yeah, interesting thought. It's really, I don't know. Obviously, it just makes you think about a lot of things in different ways, because the Brad Pitt side of Tyler Durden, or however you want to say that, has a lot of obviously like intense views, and then something like there are a lot of times where it's like, oh, like he kind of makes a pretty good point here. The part where he's got the convenience store clerk at gunpoint, and tells him, hey, you got to go become a veterinarian, and if you're not on your way in 6 weeks, you're dead. And then they're like, oh, what the hell was that? And he's like, tomorrow his breakfast is going to taste better than any of you or I've ever had. It's like, oh wow, okay, he's a good guy. He's doing some extreme things, but it's for good purposes. But you get far enough, and it's like, yeah, maybe blowing up a whole bunch of buildings isn't maybe like the good guy. But then there's still the debate of like, well, is it, it's a movie that makes you think. It's a movie you can debate who's right and who's wrong, and obviously, there's the twist that they're the same person. It's just, I think this movie is just a work of art. It's genius. I'm gonna stop there.
But even with the blowing up the building, which is horrible, he made it clear that all the doormen, all the security guards, all the cleaning people are with us, and they're out. And they made sure the building's clear. Nobody's in the buildings. Obviously a couple people are going to slip through, somebody banging their secretary on the 39th floor or whatever. But, you got to break some eggs.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, that wouldn't have been one of them. That would have been a stockbroker or something like that, or somebody who's, calling somebody and harassing them about their overdue credit card. Not the kind of people that they'd want to hang out with.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. It's like, yeah, the whole concept of right and wrong is so it's everything gets twisted in this movie, and in the best way.
So, Mike, question for you. You have to pick a fictional person to get into a fight with. Who would you pick?
Oh, I love it. A fictional person, you said.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel this way so much anymore, but when I was a lot younger, I compared myself to Eric Foreman from that '70s show.
Yeah.
So you want to take on Foreman?
I feel that on
We're losing Mike a little
Is that
bit.
me or you
Yeah.
a lot of
No, it's mine.
Yeah, it's Mike. Europe's a long ways away.
Still,
We can hear you, but you're
we
frozen.
can kind of hear you, but you're frozen.
can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
your voice is good.
You got a pretty
Foreman,
funny
I
look
guess.
on your face. Oh, there you
You're
go.
back.
You're back.
Yeah, we'll say Eric Foreman. Otherwise, um, yeah, that's probably. I mean, that's the one that's past. It's 3 a.m. for me.
And I
Yeah.
like that answer a lot, Mike, just because of like where you are. And so, like, I'm assuming you haven't been like extensively boxing or training or doing any kind of martial arts or anything. So,
correct.
you know, and if you were to go hardcore for 6-7 months or whatever, then that might change. You know, yeah, I want to test my jujitsu against, whatever. But I think that's like, who do I think I match up with right now? Or like, who would be an easy win? Who's gonna like? I'm not gonna go for like Abe Lincoln because he's got the reach or anything. I'm gonna like,
Yeah,
he'd probably kick my ass. He was really tall.
yeah. And to be fair, I don't know if it would necessarily be easy. It would just be a little more even, at least, probably earlier. But yeah, I mean, if I was gonna get my ass kicked by a fictional character, I mean, let's go all in and do like a Rocky or something. Like, all right, well, let's see what this feels like. Let's just go all in. I mean, if we're gonna lose, we're gonna lose. If we're doing that theme, then I like that idea.
All right, Tim, talk to me about Fight Club.
Yeah, just a great movie. What's interesting is 1999 is also the year that The Sixth Sense comes out, right? So those are two of the biggest sort of twist reveals that I remember in movies, where you're just like, son of a bitch, I didn't even see that coming. Like, these are two really famous movies for that happened to come out in the same year. And I think that's a really interesting thing. Fincher is just an interesting guy. He got his career started directing music videos. I don't know if you guys looked up or know that about him, but a whole bunch of mid 80s to late 80s really fun songs. And I remember watching the videos, learning later on while breaking down these movies that he directed a shit ton of them is really cool. First time I saw this, I was totally sold. I had no idea at all. And so, like Mike is saying, it's fun to watch it and see things and think about them differently. Like the scene where the guy who owns the building comes down and they're gonna tough guy and strong arm him, and Brad Pitt's just taking shot after shot and laughing. And what I'm thinking watching it around this time is, was that Ed Norton doing that? You know what I mean? Like,
Ooh,
the scene probably happened, but wasn't it the actual guy that's, the narrator that actually did it? And that's where he's getting all the, like the street cred from all of his guys for doing that.
well, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
All the fights that were, but what I like in this particular fight that you're talking about, Tim, and you talking about, was it the narrator or was it Tyler Durden? In my mind, it was definitely Tyler going through that process. And that was one of the first times, like, Edward Norton, and if you think about it as like a split personality,
Yeah.
wanted to come back in so he could rationalize what was going on. And, Tyler Durden, that's the first time he gives him the, I got this. I know exactly what I'm doing. Don't take over and get soft on me.
Right.
Because I'm gonna win. I know what I'm doing. So like, that's fighting Lou. Come on, Lou.
Yeah.
Let us have the basement, Lou.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a thought there for a minute. Oh, nope, it's gone. I don't keep thoughts anymore. Apparently, they just leave. So I'll just move on. This is a very Gen X sort of themed movie. It's Fincher called it a coming of age story, but it's not like a teenage coming of age story. It's getting into adulthood and realizing that it is not what was advertised. Like, oh, here I am in the job I was told I was supposed to get since I was a kid, and this world sucks. It's the promise isn't there, and I fucking hate this, and I hate everything about it. And I love the setup where he's buying all this shit from IKEA, and like my life is valued by the cool things that I have. I think even when you watch this the first time, you realize he blew up his own apartment. Like you don't have to watch the rest of the movie and find the plot twist to figure out that it was him. Like that's one thing where you never really think Brad Pitt's character did that, the other side of the split personality. I always just assumed the narrator did it just because he's fucking tired of everything. And I never really thought, as I was watching it the first time anyways, that it was him as he was, on the other side of the split personality. So Tyler doing it. So I'm going to keep referring to them as the narrator and Tyler as if they're two characters, just so anything I say has a chance at making sense. But all this like rage against, like I wrote it down as a predestined life plan, I think is a cool theme of this movie. Like I've been told my whole life, go to college, get the job, and then you've arrived and life is beautiful. And that's just not how it works out. And so, or anyways, in this particular story. So I don't know. I just think that's really cool. I did write down Jack with a question mark because, like you were saying, Brian, like I've just kept referring to him as the narrator because that's what I saw on the cast. And because I saw that before I watched the movie, I never really questioned it. I was like, yeah, nobody is calling him anything. But he kept saying stuff about Jack. And I was like, is this guy's name Jack? Because he's like, I'm Jack's this, I'm Jack's that. And I never really put that together. So if you guys understand that, feel free to help out with that.
He was reading those journals that were in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And in the journal, Jack was the one who wrote them.
Okay.
And Jack was writing in the journal about his kidney or whatever. So he just started using that. But now that goes to the same question.
Right.
Was he the one who originally wrote the journals and doesn't realize he wrote them?
Right.
Does he have another persona, or is his name Jack, like you said?
Right.
And that could also just be like a pseudonym. Like Jack could just be a person. Like I am Jim's this, I'm Jim's that. Like he could have just made up a name for the sake of the journal. It's like he's more focused on the organ or on the the body parts, and it's a creative way of mentioning it.
Yep. I will say for me, it does get a little weird when it goes from Fight Club to Project Mayhem. You don't get much of a reason why the jump happens. Like watching through the movie, you do get it. This guy he's really, really uncomfortable with his life and he's taking it out on a feeling of like having been lied to or whatever. But just as you're watching the plot unfold, it just for me, it's just like, oh, so we went from fighting to blowing buildings up. Easy transition to make as a cult, I guess. What else? I wrote, I copied this down. This is just fantastic. They announced that Pitt and Norton had been cast in 1998, and the actors prepared by taking lessons in boxing, taekwondo, grappling, and soap making. I think that's fucking hilarious. I think like they named these three badass things and they also took classes in how to make soap. And I think that's fucking fantastic. Great pick, Brian. Really fun to revisit this one. And like Wilden said, knowing what's going on, rewatching it makes you look for clues and think about things the second time around that you couldn't possibly have thought of the first time. And this is rewatchable many times to keep doing that. And Fincher is quite the artist about that. And let's give him credit for, I mean, the guy wrote a great story. I think they went through several iterations of screenplays. Like as far as I was reading, there's at least 9 different screenplays they went through to get this right, taking certain scenes out of the book for length, but also just to sort of make it more sense, have it make more sense. And even the author said when he saw it, he was like, I love what they did with this. And which isn't always the case with authors. You know, they're like, hey, they took some big scenes out of here, but it makes more sense now. And so that's a couple of artists working well together. You know what I mean? Like they all put stuff into this project and made it better and better, including a couple of fantastic actors. And let's shout out Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
Great job in this role. That's not her. Well, it's close to her normal role, but it's not her normal role. And I mean, for God's sake, put tits on a meatloaf and you got yourself a party. I'll close with that.
Well, Tim, if you had to fight any musician, who would you fight?
That's really tough in between Michael Jackson and Prince. I think I feel like I'd have a chance with one of those two guys. I'm gonna go
They're both
Prince.
dead, so you got a good chance.
That's a good point. You know, in their prime, in my prime, I'm thinking Prince because he would be wearing 5-inch heels and he couldn't possibly move that fast in the heels. So I'm gonna take Prince.
Charlie Murphy might disagree with you from what I've heard his stories about Prince on Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
So
Brian, I'm gonna change. You said fictional character. Or can we go fantasy with that?
Sure.
The hell, this guy who talked like 10 minutes ago. What is he doing?
Yeah. I'm gonna change my answer to Goldar from the Power Ranger Stooge.
Goldar, okay.
Yeah.
My original, when I wrote the question down, I put Power Ranger. It's like, no, you wouldn't want to fight the Power Rangers, but way to find Goldar. I like it.
Brian, I got to tell you, I'm kind of upset that you switched it. I mean, I like what you're doing there, but I had a fictional character ready to go. I was going to go Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, because he seemed kind of stupid and slow. And we should be bringing up that movie as often as we possibly can through these discussions. But
gotcha.
I think I can beat Prince quicker than Eeyore.
Okay. Dan, what do you got on Fight Club?
All right. Yeah. I really like this movie. All the acting was excellent, you know, and I'm not a big Brad Pitt fan. So I think this is the best movie that I've, you know, ever seen him in. I like, you know, like Moneyball, like him in Moneyball also, but
Ocean's 11? 7?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of those
Hollywood.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Good Lord, Dan. You're throwing out a big matzo ball there for us to chew on.
Yeah, I like him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Oh, what's the one where he plays Death? That's a good one.
Meet Joe Black?
Meet Joe Black. I really like that one.
Funniest line in the movie, I think, I haven't been fucked like that since grade school.
Yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious when you know, Edward Norton's character opens the door on Brad Pitt when they're having sex and Brad Pitt has a rubber glove on. I got a big laugh from me. But I wrote down some life lessons about this movie.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Materialism won't make you happy.
Okay.
You know, it's one of the famous quotes in this movie. The things you own end up owning you.
As evidenced by the giant pieces of furniture littered around your apartment behind you.
That's right. That's right. I just keep everything, you know, so you guys can't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to be drowning in a sea of stuff, you know, and you gotta. But that's just me. That isn't the way most people think. You kind of society has a lot of expectations. Like Tim was talking about this earlier. I think it was you. There's a lot of expectations. You know, you gotta go to school. You gotta get married. You gotta get this job. You know, you gotta buy a house. So, you know, I think this movie kind of smashes all those societal expectations. What else?
Are you saying these because they conveniently justify your lifestyle, Dan? Is that what's going on here?
This is just from the movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking too
This
far into
doesn't
that.
have anything to do with me.
Okay, all right.
Another life lesson from this movie: question the status quo. That's one of the big things. Like he hates his 9 to 5 job. So that's I think one of the main reasons that he is an insomniac and has all these problems.
That was a big theme in the late 90s, right? What was that other movie? Winona Ryder and Ethan Hawke. He's a musician and she's making films. It was another big cult movie.
Was it literally called Insomniac? I know there is a movie called Insomniac.
No. I'm coming up with The Replacements, which isn't right because that's that football movie, but it's something like that. But that was a big theme for that movie also. It's just like, screw the expectations and we're happier when we go against the grain. Where's Matt Smith when you need him? Say another life thing, Dan, and I'll get back to you.
All right. Another life lesson was embrace your dark side. His alter ego, so to speak, is Tyler, or if you believe that really is him, I don't know. But he's got the leather jacket on, and it's kind of his. He wants to be like him. There was I read this. It's kind of funny. The writer of the book, he got the idea for this book. He was camping and he went and complained to people next to him about the noise, and he got beat up by the people. And then he went into work, that following week, and nobody said anything about his injuries. They were.
Wow.
I thought that
That's
was pretty
rough.
pretty hilarious. Yeah. Nobody wanted to get to know him, like, on a personal level like that. Just ignore his, bloodied up face and everything. And hey, how was your weekend? You get all that kind of crap when you go to work. But those are some of my life lessons from this movie. This is the type of movie that you watch it once and you're kind of blown away by the twist at the end there. So then you want to watch it again to see if you see clues throughout the movie of what's going to happen. And there's several. Helena Bonham Carter, she walks out in traffic without looking at cars, and all the cars go roaring by her, honking their horns, and she's standing in the middle of the road. So there's little clues like that throughout the movie that things may not be as they seem. One more life lesson here. I forgot about this one. Let me get back to this one. Your life, you had illusion of control, I wrote down. Life throws you a bunch of curveballs. So, it's okay that you don't have everything figured out. Everybody wants to think that they have everything figured out, but you really don't.
Deep dive from Dan Sears here.
Yep.
That movie was Reality Bites, by the way, and that was in '94. And a small little coincidence, they had talked about casting Janeane Garofalo, who was in that movie, Reality Bites, in the part of Marla. And somebody said that now she's just not gritty enough. Like she's not. Like Helena Bonham Carter is just so good in this role. Like,
yeah, I couldn't think of anyone else.
However much time they spent casting that, like they nailed casting for this movie.
Yeah,
I heard they also wanted Reese Witherspoon, and I'm like, she's too much of a goody two shoes.
Yeah, and she was too young at the time. Like they were like, that's gross.
Yeah, yep.
Which, by the way, not every movie maker comes up with. That's gross, as we have seen quite a few times in this movie group.
I was gonna say who was the one that was that wanted Reese Witherspoon in that case, and yeah.
And I thought Milo was great, and he at the beginning when he goes to that support group and he grabs him and smashes him into his man boobs, and he's crying. I thought that was hilarious. Meatloaf was excellent, but that's it. Good pick. I've always enjoyed this movie, and it was good to go back and see it again.
All right, Dan, my question for you. If you had to pick a fight with someone and lose that fight, who would you pick as a fictional character?
Oh, a fictional character.
Yeah, we're going to go fictional.
Oh, okay. I had somebody in mind, a real person. I was thinking Steve Eiserman. I would never want to beat up Steve Eiserman. But a fictional character that I would want to lose a fight to.
I like the fact you think you could beat up Steve Eiserman,
but wow. I guess a fictional character I would not want to beat up would be Harry Potter.
Okay.
All right.
We go with Harry Potter. Harry Potter's whooping your ass. Okay.
Yep.
Aaron, give me your thoughts on Fight Club.
Yes, sir, Brian. Once, like everybody said, I've seen this. Didn't see it in the theaters. I know you guys have already brought up some other movies. It made me look up some other things though, just for dates. Both The Usual Suspects and Seven, huge twist movies, came out in '95. Mm-hmm. I remember, I believe Brian was one of the people that I said this to. If we watch this movie talking about The Usual Suspects, we're going to watch it twice. Is that accurate?
Yes, you and I at college.
My son and a couple other people have done that. I was like, all right, if we're going to sit down and watch this, have 4 hours because we're going to watch it twice. Because it's one of those ones very similar to this. And I think Fight Club does a better job of doing it, of actually giving you the clues and seeing things, where in The Usual Suspects, it's all kind of hidden. And then they reveal it as like things you missed or you weren't privy to, but it was in the room. There's no way you could have noticed it. So like The Usual Suspects, love Fight Club, and I've seen it many times. Going at these movies in different ways, especially the ones that I've seen a lot. This one, because right at the start, one of the first lines out of Ed Norton's mouth after the gun comes out is the gun clean? You know, so I was like, okay, how I'm going to go about this is like cool one-liners, or like just a series of quotes, or, you know, things that stand out, kind of like what Dan was doing, given his epiphanies about how to live life from Fight Club. But like, so my first one, so I went back, I'm like, all right, I had thought of it when I was watching it on Hulu, and then I got that first commercial, and then I went and rented it, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Now I can, you know, so it was the first thing I wrote down. I love the line, you know, everything after a while becomes a copy of a copy of a copy. And for teachers or people who have reused the same flyer or document or whatever, you completely understand what that means. Mm-hmm. Every time you photocopy, you know, so it's like this, you know, worksheet or whatever that I've been using for 8 years. And I don't have a master, so I just keep saving a copy for next year. And, you know, this week I was telling the kids, okay, so this is supposed to be a picture of 2 popsicle sticks crossed. What that represents is 2 lines and the point where they cross, you know, but you can't even tell what it is at all. I'm like, it's terrible.
Or
but
there's like 5 different pictures where the staple was in the top corner. It's like there's 3 different staple marks because you've done it so many times.
And you can see where one corner was ripped off because that edge shows up. But yeah, so a copy of a copy of a copy, your days become that way, you know, whatever. When he's talking about his apartment and how, you know, I had a very respectable wardrobe and I was almost complete, you know, with buying the furniture from IKEA. You know, I had the fridge filled with the hot chili jelly from the honest, simple indigenous people of who knows where, you know, or from wherever. You know? So it's like he loses the honesty, right? You know, the heartfeltness right at the end. Step forward through the back door. I just think that's a cool line. Just psycho babble bullshit, you know. Close your eyes and breathe deep and step forward through the back door of your mind. It's like, what are you talking about? But it works. This is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time. Single serving friends. I love that line. You know, your whole life becomes single servings. It always reminds me of, Brian, you remember this movie with, maybe you others will too, but I think Brian and I have talked about this movie before. Michael J. Fox, and he wants to build a hotel. Not Secret of My Success.
No.
He's got the glass picture of the skyline.
And he puts it and he shows the girlfriend where he wants to build it. And anyway, great movie. But he has, like, he orders Chinese food every day and every day he like duck sauce, soy sauce, red sauce, and he keeps them in the bowls. I don't know why I always picture that as like when he's talking about single serving friends, and it always reminds, back to that copy of a copy of a copy. There was a comment where the future's going to be, everything's going to be branded, blah, blah, blah. And at one point they say, they're going with the world, the universe, and they call it the Microsoft Galaxy. And I'm like, they were so close because it's the Samsung Galaxy. The Galaxy is branded. It's just not Microsoft. It runs its operating system, but so I just thought that was cool that they said that in 1999. I wonder what this had to do with the homemade soap trend. In 99, you got so many people like buying homemade soaps or fancy soaps and stuff like that.
It's Aaron, it's For Love or Money is the name of that movie.
Okay.
It's
Wow, I never would have come up with that. I wasn't even in the ballpark. Really like that movie too. When Tyler Durden asked the narrator, how's that working out for you? Being clever, I mean, that's great. Yeah. He's trying to be a smart ass on the plane or whatever. And then drops in a Lorena Bobbitt reference, which had to be fairly topical at the time. Like that must have happened kind of recent to be in the movie, or maybe it's older than I think. Hit Me as Hard as You Can. That's at that point, it's the 36:28 minute of the movie, 36.28, 36 minutes, 28 seconds of the movie. It goes from Ed Norton narrating to Ed Norton talking to the audience. And because during that 5 or 10 minutes, he's describing Tyler Durden to us, but he like turns to the camera and he's talking to the audience rather than just narrating the story. I think that's just a cool little thing that, is a great production choice, director choice, right. Whatever. I really like that. Where Tyler explains that he's been in the house for a year, which happens to be when the narrator's talking about he was being a tourist and he was actually feeling better about himself and sleeping well. He had been going to the help. What do you call those? Yeah.
Support groups.
Support
groups. Thank you. He had been going to the support groups for about a year, and that just happens to be the year that Tyler was living in the house on Paper Street.
Good point.
And it could be the year that he's also writing the Jack's Angry Colon or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there could be multiple personalities in there, even though we never see Jack other than in the books or the journals. I have no basis to call it on. Maybe you guys noticed their golf swings were terrible, right? I mean, they were terrible. Like, well, I can't even believe they were hitting the balls.
So the story goes they were actually drunk.
Okay.
And when they shot the scene, they did it. Yeah, they did the scene drunk and were literally hitting one of the catering vans with the golf balls. So
that's great, because did either of you guys or any of you guys that golf pick up, like, were you like, oh Jesus, I don't know, or even care,
Right.
I was trying to identify with you guys. Trying to reach out.
That scene just is what it is. Lorena Bobbitt was 1993, by the way.
Okay, so
with Matt not being here, I feel I feel like I got to research stuff.
The Matrix.
Close the Google window.
Somebody's got to do it.
See, I can't, or else my computers will crash. my computer will crash. My two screens. I don't know why I wrote down tub. Sounds familiar. I think it was when he was in the tub and they were having a conversation. I should have wrote more of a note about what sounded familiar and to who.
Well, let me jump in there because I did read this today that in the book there was a little more a lean towards a homosexual feel between the narrator and Tyler. There was a little more, like, you can tell he looked up to the guy, right? Like he looked up to Brad Pitt's character And there was a little bit of that. And the gun in his mouth was supposed to be kind of a metaphor for that. And that scene where he's in the tub and he's in there and they're kind of talking back and forth is supposed to be, Fincher put a little hint to that, which was more prevalent in the book. So there's that.
Whoa. So I wasn't saying it sounded familiar to me. I wasn't saying anything about that scene.
You don't have to defend yourself.
Tim.
That's fine. No, that's fine. You are who you are. That's what this movie's all about. You are who you are.
All good.
I put when I said Tyler, damn it. And I don't think I was drinking. Tyler won, the narrator lost. And then when were they fighting? But anyway, he said sometimes he speaks for me. So it had to be in Lou's basement. When he was trying to probably corral the rest of the guys. And maybe the first time he gave them homework assignments. Wish I would have wrote more.
It was the narrator was getting worked on in the hospital, and he said,
there you go.
Sometimes he speaks for me, and then Tyler said, he fell down the stairs.
And then he says, I fell down the stairs. There you go.
That's right.
Yep. Good. Thank you, Brad.
That other scene you just brought up is important too, Aaron, though. When Joe comes down there and he beats the shit out of him, and then he's laughing and he's like, "Hey, Joe,
Lou.
Sorry, Lou. Thank you. I was thinking Don
It's Lou's place.
I was thinking Don Shimizi for a second there. That's an inside joke there.
I'm fucking Lou.
You don't know where I've been, Lou.
But that's the day that he hands out the first assignments. It's immediately after that when everybody kind of picks him up, and all of a sudden he's just got envelopes and he's like, I have assignments for you guys. And that's when he says, go get in a fight and lose.
Right.
It doesn't feel like the same scene, but it is.
Well, yeah, because he gets his ass kicked real bad when you're saying it, because they set him down and he actually grabs his pant leg to lift it up over because he can't move his leg because he was, hitting the back or, in the leg, wherever. He's got like dead leg going on. But to me, to your point that you made earlier, I think that's the start of Project Mayhem. That's when he starts gaining control, and he's like, he sees it as this thing in a group of guys that I'm trying to save, from mediocrity or life or, the routine. And he's like, I could make this something bigger. It's the first steps. So I think there are steps to Project Mayhem. I don't think he just wakes up and they're blowing up a building or, sabotaging a piece of corporate art and destroying a chain coffee house at the same time.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And also,
I like
Tyler / himself blows up the apartment. He's making soap the whole time. He pours the chemical burn stuff out. Like, there are a lot of hints throughout it. That like, oh, there's some more sinister quote unquote things, or at least bigger things in play here.
Right. I like the term sport fucking. Only after we've lost everything are we truly free. That's a cool line. I think that goes along with what Dan was saying. A weird thing that stuck out was when the narrator was talking about shooting something up, and he talked about the Armalite AR-10. So I had to look that up because we hear all about AR-15s. Well, the AR-10 was the predecessor, bigger round, slower repetition, couldn't shoot as fast, but I'm like, oh shit. Only if they knew, working jobs we hate to buy shit that we, don't want to impress people we don't like, great line from the movie. We're the middle children of history. We've got no great war. We've got no great depression. For some reason, when I'm pretty sure, no, I don't think it was when he was beating the shit out of Jared Leto behind me. But the line, one of the first times that I think the 9th time watching it, it's in your face, where he said, for some reason, I thought of my first fight with, Tyler,
I noticed that for the first
time. And it was when
I
know exactly when it was. It was when he was kicking the shit out of himself. in his boss's office.
Yeah.
And he says, for some reason, I thought of my first fight with Tyler. Oh, because you were doing the same
That's
shit
right.
yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, but so they're that like at that point, your second time through, you're like, oh, that's where they told us. I should have known from right there. First time through, there's no way you're gonna pick that up, but like it's one of those things.
So Aaron, I have a thought about that. As I'm trying to poke holes in this story, you know, which is what sometimes I do. So go back to the scene where the guy wearing the suit in the parking lot goes, "Can I be next?" Right? You know, that's well, how did that happen? Because that literally would have been Ed Norton beating the shit out of himself in a parking lot. A group of guys coming out to go, the fuck is this guy doing? And then all of a sudden there is I would like to fight somebody next. Like it doesn't actually make sense if you go to there's no Tyler to be fighting against the narrator. So
there could be. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say that easily could have been like a thing he twisted in his mind where like maybe the guy was actually saying like, hey, do you want to like just fight another person and make it a little easier on yourself kind of thing?
Could be. All right. I like that. That's a good take.
Right.
Aaron, what were you gonna say?
If you're looking for a fight, I'll be next, you know.
Yeah, okay.
I like that take as well. You're fighting yourself, you know. So that's kind of the same thing. Which don't know if it's total coincidence, but the back double doors to Lou's bar that they come out of, I think I'm assuming they're at Lou's the first time they go and have their drinks and just, you know, just ask me to stay the night. That's what you want, you know.
Seems like
when they come outside and have that first fight, the window shapes on the doors are octagons. So I don't know if UFC is a thing or whatever, but if you Google the movie, that image of those two standing outside that back door is one of the first things that come up. And I'm like, and it's clearly an octagon. It could have just been that's the doors that were on the bar that they chose for the location.
That's fun though.
It is fun. TV and some of the things. This one I didn't think held up. I think they were up on the roofs breaking off people's TV antennas. Nobody has those anymore. They were going through the lack of a better term, Hollywood Video with the giant magnets, erasing all the VHS tapes. Nobody would get what. Nobody would even understand what they were doing. Like, what are they doing? Are they are they ironing the movies? Or what the hell's going on? Homework assigned, human sacrifice. I don't know right though. When he runs away, run Forrest run. His breakfast will taste better than any meal we've ever had. And which is like, to me, it's the same thing. It's like, oh my God, Tyler's a liberator. He's not a psychopath. And then when the narrator's trying to track him down because he's disappeared and he doesn't even see it, but when he shuts the bedroom door behind him, and there's the whole bedroom door is covered with licenses of people he's done that to, you know, like he's liberated all those people, got them on a different path from working at gas stations and shit. So it's like a savior.
Indeed.
I'm real close
I thought that those were like the licenses of all of his cult members.
No,
it said at the top, it said human sacrifices. I thought.
Oh, I didn't. I've never noticed that. I always thought it was just like, you know, whatever the kid's name was. I don't want to come up with a stereotypical Asian name.
I like your idea better.
I think he's done that to all those people. You know, that's my like. He's put the fear of God into getting those people to do what they really want, not what they have to do. You know. And just came up with this now because you said human sacrifices. He told them, you know, basically, shit. I had a good phrase for it. You know, those people are they're sacrificing their old way of life. It wasn't that. I had a better phrase, but it had to do with sacrifice. But I do like it. Oh, they have to make a sacrifice. So yeah, they're not going to work at the gas station and it might be really tough to pay their rent next month, but they're going to be in college or they're going to, so they're going to sacrifice in order to get to where they need to be. Maybe.
I
like I said,
that.
I'm putting it together right now.
Yeah.
And there's rum getting in the way.
Aaron, to help you out here, the first use of the octagon for UFC was 1993. And I can't wait for Matt to get back. This is exhausting.
So totally could have been on purpose, is what you're saying, Tim.
Yes.
Forget what you think you know. Great line and very important. What you think you know isn't what has been going on for probably 2 years of this guy's life. Tyler went away. Tyler gone. When he's having his fight with Marla, it's Marla, right? Not Marlo. Marla.
Yep.
His name is Robert Paulson. Just sycophantic psycho followers at that point. They'll do whatever he says. He's not really making their lives better. He's kind of just using them.
I love how Marla keeps telling him, "You're a psycho. You're crazy." Like he says, Tyler's not here. He's gone. He's fucking Tyler.
Right. Yeah.
And as far as she knows, and she's just pointing it out to all of us because we haven't had the big reveal yet. And it's done
She's
really,
like, I'm
really
looking
well.
at Tyler, you asshole.
Yeah.
You fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. So you're just saying, fuck me, is what you're saying. Okay, I'll go away, you asshole. And it's not how it appears that he intends it, as he's saying.
Shit, it was towards the end, so it's not when he was fighting Lou. But I wrote down, I still can't think of anything. Oh shit, it's a callback to the start of the movie. Something about, I think it's the scene when he's sitting in the chair. And it's about the gun, and should have wrote more down. But there's a line where I wish there was something clever I could have said about blah blah blah. And then when you're back to that scene, he says, I still can't think of anything. So it's like, it started with the first part of that thought. We watched the whole movie, and then it comes back to the end of that thought, which, it's really good. Blew the side of his cheek off, didn't hit anything vital, and he's, I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. Just go, guys. It's just great. And then the last thing I wrote down.
And he tells the guy right before he goes, sorry, the massive delay there. The guy, like right before the last guy leaves, before they blow up all the buildings, he does look at him. He just goes, "Get some gauze."
Yeah,
get some gauze.
I was hoping it was a different song, but in the credits, one of the songs is called "The Girl from Ypsilanti." So went to school at Eastern Ypsilanti. And it's more of like the elevator music is "The Girl from Ypsilanti."
Oh no.
So I thought it was going to be the cool song that they were, I think, using for the credits. I'm like, oh, but cool that it was in there, and I could still read. But
did you learn about the score? Like who did the score?
Not at all.
And who did the music?
Nah, I could care less about music.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you come up with that stuff.
I'm just teasing you, Tim.
Fincher he didn't want to have like popular music in there at all. And so he went to Radiohead because Radiohead had just had OK Computer out. And he was like, this stuff's weird and fresh and I love it. Do you guys want to do the score for this? And the lead singer was like, we've been promoting this tour all year. I'm exhausted. I got nothing for you. I'm not writing an album for your movie. And so we got these two guys. I want to say they're called the Dust Brothers. That's probably not right.
That is right. Yep.
Is that right? Dust Brothers.
Yep.
And they did all of this by programming it. So it's like loops and digital music, all of the score and all of the stuff in there. And they took his cue, make weird music that doesn't sound like anything else. That's what I want for my movie. And they did this. And I think it fits in there really nicely. And then the very last one is a song from the Pixies. There's one in there that's an actual popular song, but everything else they just made up. So the song you're talking about, they just fucking made it up.
Okay, wait. So, and this might be the Pixies song. So it's the I don't even want to hum it or whatever. It's the high pitched. It sounds like it's probably on an organ or some type of synthesizer, but it's when the buildings are falling down. The doo
I think
doo
so.
doo. So
I think
is
so.
that the Pixies song? Is that the actual
I'm not
song?
100% sure, but I think so. I
Okay.
know it's at the end of the movie.
Okay. Yep. And I mean that music is great.
Mhm.
So I'm done, Brian. Thank you. Good movie. I'm glad you made me watch it again. If you want me to watch it again, I will. Just tell me.
Okay. Aaron, my question for you is
You.
what support group? Oh.
In 10 minutes.
What support group would you go to?
Hey. That's a sad answer, isn't it?
I didn't even pause.
Yeah. You could have made something up. You could, Teachers Anonymous, something. No, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
Final answer.
There's some great lines. Another thing about this movie is just the dark humor. I mean, I don't know if there are many movies that do dark humor as well as this movie does. And even towards the beginning when they're like trading support groups and just the way they're saying, it's like, no, I want bowel cancer. Like, it's
yeah.
Just,
you don't get the whole brain.
Yeah.
You get the parasites or you get cancer. You don't get the whole brain.
Yeah.
Testicular cancer, that's obvious.
Yeah, they don't like how I smoke in there anyway.
Did you notice that they clipped a picture of Tyler Durden into the movie? Like when he puts the picture of a cock in the kids' movies, there was a couple of cells of Tyler Durden.
Yeah, at different points, like standing against the wall, in the background. And then at the end, you did notice the big cock that was clipped in, right? That wasn't.
They make that one a lot more obvious.
Yeah.
Mike saw it.
That one, you're supposed to see that one. That one.
You're supposed to.
The hitting of the ear, that was actually the director told the narrator to do that. Edward Norton. Brad Pitt didn't know that was coming. And I don't know if you guys noticed this or not. So you got to start a fight and lose the fight. And the guys are out there. The guy with the hose who sprays the priest.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
And that's great. Yeah.
The next time they're fighting, the priest is in there.
Oh, is he
just
really?
The priest ends up joining the fight club.
Oh, that's great.
Funny story about this movie and Jared Leto. I don't even know how many years it was after this movie came out, but the his band 30 Seconds of Mars did Closer to the Edge, and I go by Aaron's house. He's like, you got to watch this music video for a second. So I'm watching it, and he's like, who's that lead singer? It's like, that's a guy from Fight Club who was beautiful that Ed Norton destroyed his face. And I was like, God damn it. So it's kind of funny.
I didn't recognize him. This may make me stupid, but I didn't know that was Jared Leto. I saw it and then I looked at the cast list after and I was like, God damn it, how did I not notice that?
I knew it was him, and I saw his name in the opening credits, and I remember it's like, oh yeah, Jared Leto's in this. But I'm in the same boat. If I didn't already know it was him, I wouldn't know. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. Too bad Matt and Hilty weren't here. I would have enjoyed hearing them. I actually had a question about Matt if he would fight Jesus, but
we should make Matt and Hilty fight. That'd be an interesting fight to watch.
That's what has to happen. Yeah. So glad you guys enjoyed it, and that's really all I have.
Wilden had said that this influenced other movies when he went first, and one that I thought of was Old School. You know how at the end of this movie everybody's nodding at the narrator and going, hey, nothing you order here is everything's free. That's what happens with The Godfather in Old School. Like it's the exact same thing, right? If you don't have to pay for anything here. And he's out with that girl. She's like, why is everybody talking to you like that? And he's like, it's nothing. You don't need to know about it. I mean, it's the exact same scene.
Right.
So I got another question, and not going to give away too much, but is this twist ending better than Ed Norton in Primal Fear?
I've never seen that
For
movie.
those who've
I've never
seen
seen
Primal Fear.
Oh God.
Well, I know
You
what we're
guys
picking
might make me
next.
change my pick for tonight. Jesus, how have you not seen that?
Mike, have you seen Primal Fear?
I haven't.
Oh my God.
I don't think so.
Where's Hilty when you need him?
Right.
I know he's seen it.
Well, that question went over great.
That wasn't one I was thinking of. But like, just these great twist movies. With Brad Pitt having done 7 just before this with the same director, right?
Right.
Yep.
And then Ed Norton
he's
doing
done
that one. I'm like, both these guys knew what they were in for. Like they had practiced,
Yeah.
Yeah. He also did Benjamin Button with Brad Pitt. He did a few with Brad.
Yeah, I just meant like the crazy twist.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Crazy twist movie.
Yep. So
all right, guys, here is a moment. We have made it through 199 movies, and Aaron has known for a while that this is his pick. So he's been sitting on this beauty like a mother hen sitting on an egg, waiting for it to hatch. Aaron, what will be the 200th movie we will watch as the BTB Movie Club?
I did try to pass this honor, pressure-filled moment off to Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't feel I was deserving. He shot me down.
That's right.
So now he gets what he deserves.
Where we go one, we go all.
Okay. Brian's laughing because he knows. All right. The movie I'm going to pick. It was a novel written in 1829, so almost 200 years old. It's still considered, probably even more so, a masterpiece of American literature. It's been made into a movie 3 times. In 1920, it was considered the first time it was made into a movie was 1920, and that movie is now considered one of the best silent films ever made. It was remade in 1936 and is considered the best movie Randolph Scott has ever acted in. And then it was made for the 3rd time in 1992, which it gained high praise for its cinematography, its music, and performances from all of the leads in the movie. It's a movie I've never seen, but have thought of more than any other single movie, over the last 25 years. It's considered too violent for anybody under the age of 14 to view. Some consider it a must-watch piece of cinematic history, and others consider it grossly overrated, which I think makes it wonderful for this group. The movie we're going to watch in the Bust Tim's Balls movie group is The Last of the Mohicans.
Excellent.
Which year are we watching?
1992. The Daniel Day-Lewis.
This is so quotable. This movie is so quotable.
It's got one major quote. And if you look, you will find it.
You will. Stay alive. You will find it.
He told me 2 months ago he was going to do this.
I didn't care what the topic was going to be, but it fits. This is a movie.
It absolutely fits. And I'm going to tell you, I knew what this movie was 25 seconds before you announced it because Brian was laughing his ass off as you were explaining it. I was like, I got it. I know what he's doing here.
So none of the other stuff like about the book or the other movies okay.
Nope. You did a great job. Brian gave it away.
That's fine. I figured he would have told you when you were golfing.
Yeah. Nope. Ah, that's great. Last of the Mohicans. So there is obviously an inside joke about this, and we'll be happy to relive that next time. we'll wait until you guys have watched the movie.
Yeah, that'll be good with anybody else who makes it too.
Yeah.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves, and we hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.